We continue to track breaking news out of Newfoundland and Labrador. That's where officials have ordered the evacuation of Churchill Falls, a small community which continues to deal with a wildfire nearby, which is growing out of control. Sarah Galashan is at our breaking news desk with the very latest. So, Sarah, what are we learning this hour?
Well, we're learning, Travis, is that residents of this community got about 45 minutes notice that they were going to have to leave. Now, it's not a surprise that wildfire was burning nearby. That's something the residents have been very aware of in the last several days, watching water bombers trying to tackle these fires from above and certainly big billowing plumes of smoke. But today at 7:30 p.m., they were told they needed to be leaving by 8:15 p.m. local time, and they needed to head east toward Happy Valley-Goose Bay. One resident telling us just last hour that the sky had become so thick with black smoke that it completely blackened out the sky, even though it was still daylight. Everything was very dark. So that certainly raises a lot of concerns about air quality in that area. Forestry officials on the official notice of the evacuation order saying that the order has been issued due to changing conditions around the community in terms of this wildfire. The Premier is echoing that notice from the wildfire officials. We can put up his tweet there talking about those changing conditions. Yvonne Jones, the MP for Labrador, also just last hour telling us that in a 1 hour period of time this afternoon, and remember, they're dealing with a lot of heat in this area affected by the heat dome that central Canada and to the east are dealing with, that the fire moved about 2 kilometres closer toward Churchill Falls in a period of 1 hour. Now, there is a river, the Churchill River, that the fire still remains on the other side of. At least that's what we understand. But she's telling us that it wouldn't take much for that fire to jump and become closer to the community. Just to talk about, not so much that this is a surprise, but on the official wildfire website, Travis, the last update was June 16, and in that, in bold, it says no immediate risk of fire. So while residents would be very aware that this was happening and maybe have gassed up and be prepared to leave, this did happen very quickly, and the last that they had officially heard was no immediate risk.
Okay, so Sarah, these residents, they now need to get to Happy Valley-Goose Bay or another community in that area. But what is that journey for them going to be like with all of this smoke?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, let me just say, looking at a map, there's not a lot of other communities in that area to choose from. Happy Valley-Goose Bay really is, it's about 3 hours drive. It is a remote area, no real communities that are situated in between the two. And so it's a remote drive. And if they're doing the drive themselves, they will be gassing up in Churchill Falls certainly before they leave. In terms of residents here, we're talking about between 700 to 800 people that live in Churchill Falls. And some of them are fly-in residents in that they fly in, they live in work camps as they're working on the hydro project, the Churchill Falls hydro project, which is an important asset, not just to that community, but really the entire region in terms of the energy grid. So that's an important asset that they're going to be obviously trying to protect, but human lives being the priority. And so for those who don't live there, maybe don't have a car, that's why in the official notice of evacuation order, they have said there are buses that they have organized to get people to Happy Valley-Goose Bay. And Happy Valley-Goose Bay, well, some may have family and friends that might live there as well. That is the home of an air base, Air Force base. So it's potentially going to be playing a role in terms of trying to make these residents comfortable as they wait out this wildfire.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't have to wait too long and they get back home safely. Sarah Galashan with the latest on the breaking news. Thank you.
You bet.
It is just about 8:20 right now in Labrador, and residents were asked to be out of that community by 8:15, so about 5 minutes ago. Joining us now on the phone is Robert Daw, who lives in Churchill Falls, who is leaving, I understand, Churchill Falls right now. So, Robert, tell me a little bit about your situation. Where are you right now?
I'm sitting in my vehicle with my 2 dogs, ready to leave town. Just stuck around an extra couple minutes to give you guys a heads up of what's going on.
And so what is going on? Because I understand that, this afternoon around 3 o'clock you were looking out and you saw a bit of haze.
Yeah, I could smell the smoke and see it in the air. And then by 5 o'clock you could see a real black cloud of smoke coming up where the fire looked worse than it ever was. So we were all expecting the worst, and sure enough, at 7:30, we got text message and email notification from Forestry to evacuate and head east. because the road is blocked to the west because of so much smoke.
Okay, and so that is towards Happy Valley-Goose Bay. We're looking at some pictures right now of that thick smoke that is in the air. Tell me a little bit about how the communication has been, with the administration of Churchill Falls and Forestry and residents.
It's been great. Like I say, we've been getting notifications almost every day telling us, updates later, stand by, there's no need to evacuate or anything. And then today we got the one saying, okay, now it's time to go. We told you all to be prepared. Now you need to go. You got 45 minutes to get out of town. 45 minutes to get out of town. That's not a lot of time, but you said that you knew in advance. So were you prepped? Did you have some items in your vehicle already in case you did need to leave at a moment's notice, as you do have to now? Yeah, I had my vehicles fueled up. I had them cleaned out. I had stuff put in them already. Most of the residents had bags packed, ready to go. So most people were prepared because we were expecting the worst.
So give us just a sense. We're looking at a map right now. Talk to me about the geography, where Churchill Falls is in relation to Happy Valley-Goose Bay. I know that there's about 700 or so people in this community. It is fairly remote. And what that distance is to get to Happy Valley-Goose Bay.
So we got to go 295 kilometers east to Goose Bay. We're pretty well in the middle between Lab City and Goose Bay. But because of the smoke and the fire is about 10 kilometers to the west of us and blocking the road, our only path out is to go towards Happy Valley-Goose Bay.
How are you feeling with all of this happening in your community? And are you concerned about your home right now, obviously, with this?
Yeah, I'm pretty calm about it. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this, but we, not everyone is leaving. Our forestry department is going to be here working hard, fighting it. I would assume our firefighters are going to be here. So I feel confident it's going to be safe. I think it's more for the smoke factor than it is the actual flames, say, burning the town down. I really, that's my opinion, for what it's worth.
And so what are your plans once you get to Happy Valley-Goose Bay? Has there been any communication in terms of where you go? Do you have a place to stay when you get there with the dogs? Yeah, I have a place to stay when I get there for me and my family. I was talking to 3 other families. They've made calls down. Apparently the hotels down there have getting like 100 calls each hotel within minutes of people looking for rooms and people staying with friends. So it's pretty frantic. Everyone is down trying to make accommodations for someone to stay in Goose. I see some people towing their camper trailers, so they got a place to stay with them. So, but everything seems pretty calm. No one's rushing around. No one's panicking. Everything's going in a nice, methodical fashion. There's a long line up at the fuel station for some people who just want to top up before they leave. And hopefully everyone else is prepared enough to make a safe trip to Goose Bay this evening. Yeah, that's certainly some good news that everybody is remaining calm and following the order to evacuate. Talk to me a bit about what it looks like right now. Night's fallen. Is it very smoky where you are right now? Tell me where you are.
Yeah, well, normally the sun is not down yet, but it's completely blocked by the smoke, so it's pretty dark and dull. It's really hazy in the air. The wind is strong, maybe around 40 kilometers an hour. It's supposed to gust up to 90 later, and the wind is blowing in the direction between the fire and town. So the smoke is blowing here, and I think that's the main reason they want us out, is for health reasons more than, I think, a fire reason. So that's my opinion again, but that's what I'm feeling right now by being here and by sizing up where everything is.
Okay. Well, I know that you are on your way and you did stop briefly for us, so I want you to get on the road and get to safety. We want you to get to Happy Valley-Goose Bay in one piece and healthy. Yvonne Jones is the MP for Labrador. She's also the Parliamentary Secretary for Northern Affairs and National Defence, and she joins us now live. Yvonne, what can you tell us in terms of what's going on with the community right now? We did speak to one resident. We know that evacuation order was for 8:15 local time, and residents asked to head towards Happy Valley-Goose Bay. Can you give us a further update?
Yes, well, people are evacuating the community. Things are going very well right now in terms of the evacuation. Obviously, we're looking at evacuating about 750 to 800 people, of which probably a couple hundred of them are in camps, fly-in, fly-out workers. So buses are being provided to take people out. Many people are moving in their own vehicles. And so the community itself, Newfoundland Labrador Hydro, emergency measures are all working to do this in a very systematic fashion to try and relieve as much stress as they can on people. But what we do know is that the fire is getting closer to the community. So for the last week, we've had water bombers in that area doing a tremendous amount of work. Obviously, we thought the fire was out. But, you know, we've been in a heat dome there as well. You know, temperatures have reached as high as 38 degrees in the community today, probably setting a new record, as some residents have been telling me. So they're asking people to evacuate, to move east. That means to evacuate to Happy Valley-Goose Bay. And the Goose Bay has been made aware of this. They're preparing to receive people from Churchill Falls. The lieutenant colonel at 5 Wing Goose Bay is working hard to get barracks set up at the National Defence Base there, so that we can accommodate people there. There are many who have family members in Happy Valley-Goose Bay or in Labrador West, and they're trying to get to where their families are so they can be with them. But obviously, this is something that came up very quickly. The fire was starting to move, you know, about 2 kilometers towards the community in an hour. So that caused tremendous concern and certainly brought on the need for evacuation at this point.
And so how far is the fire from Churchill Falls right now? Do you know the distance?
So from what I understand, the fire is about, you know, 10 to 15 kilometers away from the airport, which is probably another 2 or 3 kilometers outside the community. But there is a river that is, it would have to cross the river, but the fire is already on that ridge, and there is no reason the fire would not cross the river. You know, we're looking at a very hazardous area there, and if that was to happen, then, you know, things could erupt pretty quickly. Obviously, that's the reason for the evacuation. Everyone is hopeful that the situation can get under control and that the fire damage can be limited to the areas where it is now, and all attempts are being made to do that.
I mean, are there fears that the town could be lost if this fire does jump that river?
There's always a fear. You know, the people at emergency measures are more so the experts in terms of that. Obviously, their concern is great enough that the evacuation was necessary. And, you know, the fire was becoming much closer to the community. It was causing a more serious hazard than we have seen in the past number of days. And so, obviously, this is an attempt to ensure people are safe. They get to a safe place, and then all attempts will be made to be able to fight that fire and try to prevent it from getting into the community. But, you know, this is a community that is a company town, as we call it in Labrador.
Right.
It's the base of Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro's major Churchill Falls development project, and that community is run by Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro under the provincial government. So obviously, they are watching closely all the assets in the community, but their priority, like everyone else, is to get people to safety first.
And so when folks do head to Happy Valley-Goose Bay, that is a small community, but it's much larger than Churchill Falls. What supports will be in place for them when they arrive?
So first of all, the Salvation Army, along with a number of other groups in the community of Happy Valley-Goose Bay, are helping on the ground there to ensure people have places to stay, families have security. They've reached out to all the hotels in that area to get whatever rooms is available. The 5 Wing Goose Bay, the National Defence Base, is already mobilizing to make all the barracks and any other units they have available right now open to people so they can go there. They have a place to stay. And there are many in the community that are opening their doors to take in family, friends, others they may know. So that is all in process right now. And people have been very generous. As you can imagine, Canadians are, no matter what part of the country we live in. We open our doors to those who need it, and that's what's happening in Labrador tonight.
I know that you have to run because you have to be on some calls, but I do want to ask you two quick questions before you go. And this, might be tough, but do you have any idea in terms of when folks might be able to return safely to Churchill Falls? And also, just finally, your message to people in your community this evening.
Unfortunately, I have no idea when they could return. There are people on the ground closer to this than I am, experts in the field. They will make those calls when the time comes. For me, I just want people to be safe right now. I'm asking Labradorians to open their homes, open their hearts to all of these people that need security right now, and I know that they're doing that without me even asking. I'm asking them to pray for the safety of people, that they get out of the community safely and they get to Happy Valley-Goose Bay or Labrador West. And at this time, I just want to thank all of those that are involved with the emergency measures in Newfoundland and Labrador, and those that are involved from the national capacity of helping find solutions as well, for the great work that they're doing and for bringing their skills and knowledge to assist at this time. It is very, for us, we are very grateful for that.
Yvonne Jones, we're grateful for your time this evening, giving us that update. That is Yvonne Jones, who is the MP for Labrador. She's also the Parliamentary Secretary for Northern Affairs and National Defence.